And thanks for joining. And first of all, congrats for getting into JNU. So, can you give us a short introduction about yourself and from where you have done your graduation and all? Then we can proceed further.
Yes, sir. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me, Exam Treasury. My name is Calistha Rose Joseph. I'm from Kerala. I did my schooling from Kerala, and in 12th, I had humanities as my stream, and sociology was one of my disciplines. And for my bachelor's, I did my bachelor's from St. Stephen's College, University of Delhi. I have my bachelor's in economics and political science. And now, with God's grace, I've got the offer letter from JNU for master's in sociology.
Hmm. So, see, you do not have a sociology background, then still you could score very good marks, right?
Yes, sir.
And you scored excellent marks and got into JNU, that too under general category.
Yes, sir.
So, when you looked at the cutoff and when you looked at the scores that everyone is getting, I think out of 300, you scored 283, right?
Yes, sir. I scored a
And
283.
still you were not sure whether you are going to get JNU. Or
Yes.
you were sure?
So the thing is, like, actually, after the entrance, everyone was telling the paper was easy. The paper was very easy, but then I felt that there were certain questions which were like you can get confused with the options. And I was very this thing that I want JNU. So I was expecting a very high cutoff, and then I got a confirmation that okay, I will get in when I realized that the All India rank one is 290 out of 300, and my score is 283. Till then, I had my doubts because assuming that the cutoffs would go really high, then I was confident that I would be scoring 280, 283 around.
So when did you start preparing for your MA Sociology?
So basically, like as I mentioned earlier, my background is not from sociology. I did politics and economics. So the thing is, I had read a lot on sociology as I was preparing for my optionals during my bachelor's in college. So that is how like I had a shift. It was a very strategic move, but then later on I fell in love with the discipline and I decided on going for the masters. And as far as the preparation is concerned, it took a crisp 3 months wherein I completely focused for CUET. But then I had a pretty good base in sociology as I was preparing for my optional. So that is why 3 months were enough for me. But otherwise, I think you will need around 6 months if you are eyeing for JNU or Delhi School of Economics.
So I think you got into DSC also, but then you did not opt for DSC, right?
No. JNU was my first preference, and Delhi School of Economics was my second preference. So, like after I got to know that I have got the offer letter, then I did not proceed with
DSC.
Yes.
So in terms of preparing for CUET, what were the challenges and how did you address it?
So the basic challenge is the fact that it is an objective paper. And for me, when I was going for my bachelor's, it was not based on CUET. It was after this is the first time I'm having to study humanities in an objective manner. And I personally feel that whenever it comes to a subject like sociology or history, when it comes to an objective aspect, they can ask you anything because there is no boundaries to the topics in such subjects. So the main thing that I focused on is to be very strategic with dealing with the syllabus for sociology. So the challenge was basically to short it down to that aspect, because if you start reading on Karl Marx and if you want to go on an objective aspect, you can go up to 20,000 questions if you want. So I was very strategic and kept in mind that it is an objective paper. So that was one challenge that I had to deal in a subjective subject in a very objective manner. So yeah.
So in terms of addressing and looking at the objective type preparation, how much do you think is past papers of different universities helpful? Why I'm asking this, because see, there were many students who were focusing only on CUET papers, while we said that yes, you should go through JNU paper also, you should go through UGC NET paper also, you should go through Jamia paper also. So how important this paper were in your preparation?
So I would say that when it specifically comes to focusing on CUET past papers, we do not have a lot many of PYQs from CUET. And secondly, the only insight that you can get is that from which topics they are focusing on. But there are not going to be any much repetitions in the CUET PYQs. My entire focus was on the UGC NET syllabus. I was preparing on that basis, be it the syllabus aspect, and even when it came to solving the previous year's question papers, I went back to up to 2012 and I was solving all of them. And I did not rely much on the CUET papers. And also, since I was eyeing for JNU, I was looking into the JNU EE objective papers.
Hmm.
That so those were the PYQs that I focused on.
Hmm. And when we get back to preparation, so how much time do you think one should focus on studies and one should focus on, solving questions? So I'm asking because again, there were many students who were focusing only on reading books or getting notes from here and there, watching YouTube videos, and not solving objective type questions. So how much time do you think that one should devote also to solve question, and why it is important to solve questions?
So I would say that when it comes to CUET, the most important aspect is to solve question paper than reading a lot of resources. I
Hmm.
mean, you should have a basic background in sociology. Like as far as my journey, I don't have a sociology background. So what I had is a very thorough base in sociology, and that is very different from what is taught from bachelor's because I was specifically studying for my optional.
Hmm.
And there is no much of a correlation if you look at with the CUET syllabus. So
Hmm.
what I did was I solved maximum question papers.
Hmm.
And when you solve question papers, you are dealing with diverse topics and diverse thinkers as well. Because if you look at the syllabus, they're not mentioning all the thinkers that they quite often ask in the question papers. So
Hmm.
what I did is in the net question papers, when you look at it, even when it comes to the options that they provide, I do try to get certain insights on the thinkers
Hmm.
name that is provided in the options, because and also I would try to understand which school of thought do they belong to in sociology and all of those. So question paper solving is like a very important thing, or the first and foremost thing that you should focus on when it comes to attempting the this examination.
Hmm. So when you looked at the difficulty level of the questions in the entrance examination, you were surprised?
Yeah, because it was easier than the past papers
Hmm.
this year in specific,
If you
but
look
then
at
as I
last 2 years paper, it was much easier as you compare to previous papers.
yes, and like another thing is like as you said, like I had the shocker of this the cutoffs going really high.
Hmm.
Because when it comes to the thing is before when JNU EE had its entrance exam, the competition is much lesser. It is a difficult paper, but the competition is much lesser. Now the standards have come to a much more average, above average level. But then in that case, the competition is so high. Like
Hmm.
even with the 283, I was thinking because
Hmm.
with the deprivation included, my score came up to 99.3. But
Hmm.
there, with being from Kerala, we do not have deprivation for the quartile districts.
Hmm.
And when you add in that as well, there were students who were getting, I guess, 311 as
Hmm.
one of the top scores. So in that case, the competition aspect was the first thing that struck my head when I saw the question paper because I was sure it would be very high.
Hmm. So how did you manage?
Uh,
Because on the one hand, there are thoughts that yes, the difficulty level is very less, so it's easier to solve. On the other hand, you are again thinking about what could be the cutoff.
yes,
So you're not focusing properly on the exam, right?
yes, sir.
So these are two different opposite kind of thoughts. One is
Exactly.
going to help you solve question, other is a kind of tempting also and disturbing also. So how did you manage your thoughts then?
So even before starting my preparations, I remember I had messaged you and I told you that I have been studying optional sociology and would that be fine? So you very clearly said that it's an objective paper. So you
Hmm.
need it's a completely different ball game. So
Hmm.
in that case, the first thing that I did was I made a calculation of how many questions I'm going to solve. So in
Hmm.
my mind, I had decided that if I need JNU, I'll have to solve around 73 questions out of 75 as a safe bet.
Hmm.
Usually 68 is, I think that I've heard quite often, but then I had made sure that I want to attempt at least 72 so that I can lock it.
Hmm.
And in the exam I did attempt 73 questions, of which one turned out to be wrong. So in
Hmm.
that case, that was my approach, like to do the maximum instead of keeping the logic of the negative marks, because I was quite sure with the answers as well. So that is how I dealt with the competition aspect. Like I was sure to solve 70 plus questions,
Hmm.
and that worked. And also, one thing that I felt is that this negative mark thing is a very big challenge in that
Hmm.
case. When you make a mistake with one question, you're losing 5 marks, like
Hmm.
marks for what's going wrong, and 1 mark for I mean, for not getting a right answer. So in
Hmm.
that case, like I was going through certain polls after the exam, and interestingly, there were a lot of kids who put, I guess, over 200 plus kids who put that they've got 290 raw score, which is impossible because the rank one is 290. So I think many
So how
aspects.
IT student, how much you should trust in on those polls?
you should not trust on those polls, because I realized that many people are not calculating it right, that you have to actually
mm,
deduct -5 from
mm,
300, not 1 marks,
mm,
that I realized, because there was almost 200 plus students with
mm,
290 raw score. So I was like, that's quite impossible. So
mm.
yeah.
And see, there were students who could say that yes, I'm getting 293 or
Mhm.
297, 290, 287. Again, these are the scores which one cannot get.
Exactly.
If you leave two questions and all your 73 questions are correct, then you're going to get 292 marks. Even if
Mhm.
one question is wrong, or you are getting one minus marks, so 291. So again, someone getting 293 is totally impossible, because if you
Exactly.
look at the question paper, again, one thing that we saw is that there were telegram channels where the owner, or the, you can say, one who is running them, they were conducting these polls, and they were random students, they were saying that yes, I'm scoring this much, that much. And I know that those students are not part of at least
Mhm.
master's program, they are BA student, but then since they are there, and this has been quite challenging for us also, because
Exactly, sir.
it create pressures on the student, and students start calling us and they are saying that, sir, everyone is going to score 290, how much I am going to score?
That is exactly why I was stressed after the results. Because
Hmm.
when my score was 283, and I was like, okay, because till now there has not been a cutoff that has crossed 280. In JNU, it
Hmm.
was 275, if I recall, to be the highest, 275 around. So when I saw almost like 150 students writing they've got raw score 290, and that
Hmm.
was quite a challenge to, the pressures increase. So
Hmm.
that's why I feel you should not rely much on the polls after the exam, because the
Hmm.
calculations are not going right. You
Hmm.
get a -5 of 300 when
And,
you
and
get.
you see, even after many students came out of the examination hall, they could say that yes, 74 is absolutely correct. And those students, they could hardly solve 43 correct.
Exactly.
Once the NTA scorecard came and I told them that yes, send me your scorecard. So someone said that, sir, I mean, it's very less marks, so why do you want to see? Then I said that you said that yes, 74 are correct. Then the
Mhm.
person said, no, sir, that's not true. See, again, I want to come back to one specific question where there was a change in the answer key, and
Mhm.
I said, I think I messaged you and I said that
Yes,
yes,
sir.
what about that? Then you said, sir, there was two conflicting answers. That's why I did not attempt that
Exactly,
question.
exactly. That
So
was
I
a very
was thinking
sad
that, and
reality.
that was very much easier question. I think that's one of the easiest question that you can think of in CUET. So
The
what
thing
would
is,
you like to say? Because I think I say that आपका तो 288 हो गया होगा, right? I
the thing
expected
is
that
like
yes, your score would be 288
in that question, like, see, the NTA later on came up with two answers and said that you
yes,
can get marks for that. And what
for
I did,
any of the two.
exactly, and what I did was that I was confused between the two, and I did not want a -5, because again, you need a very high score. So
Hmm.
if to all the aspirants, I would say that if you are coming across a question, I mean, if you're
Hmm.
so sure, I was sure that the question is wrong,
But then you need to be
you should give an
100%
attempt.
sure.
You should attempt it, because later on, you will get the marks. Otherwise, you
Hmm.
would end up being like me, who lost 5 marks for understanding it's a wrong question. So just give your attempt. Trust your gut.
Hmm. Because there is a difference between wrong question and wrong option. I mean, there can be more than one options which are correct. But
Exactly.
that in that case, you need to be 100% sure that yes, more than one options are correct. Then only you should attempt, right? And
Exactly.
again, there is a difference in change in question or change in option, and declaring the question to be invalid. If a question is declared invalid, then everyone gets the marks, and it
Exactly.
simply shifts up the, you can say, the cutoff. So that doesn't make any difference. But anywhere where you can think that yes, any for all the options are correct, you should take all the four
You
options.
should, yeah. You should give in your. Don't leave that question.
Because I thought that yes, you are going to score 288, because I think I messaged you and you
Yes,
said
sir.
since there were two options, I did not attempt, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So now coming back to the role of exam treasury, how did we help you in your preparation?
So, first and foremost, like the most helpful thing in my entire journey was the fact that I did all the mock tests from
Hmm,
exam treasury. That's something that I relied on.
hmm,
But after my preparations, like as I said earlier, I did UGC net question papers, and I did JNU EE question papers, and also did refer through BHU, DU, and every of that sort. And after that, I came into solving mocks. Exam treasury, I think I would have solved over 20 plus mocks of exam treasury. And there were certain questions which were verbatim asked in the CUET exam 2024. So mocks were very helpful. And also to mention that the question banks were also very helpful. So there were separate question banks with regards to the thinkers and concepts, and as well as the and authors. I'm pretty sure it would have taken a lot of effort to make that, because sociology is full of thinkers, So even on the last day, you had messaged me saying to read the books and authors and the thinkers and the concepts. And that was the last thing that I did right before the examination. And to be frank, there was 2-3 of them which did appear in the exam. And it was like a bullseye, easy answer for me, because I just read it the day before. So in that aspect, with respect to the question banks and also with the mock tests, exam treasury was very helpful.
So this year also what we are doing is that apart from all the questions that we provided for you all guys, we are also preparing topic wise question banks, so that whatever we teach in the class or maybe study material after this study material, for each topic we are providing the question bank where the questions will be from varying difficulty level, because sometimes you can expect that yes, examination is going to be very much easy, questions are going to be easy, sometimes the question can be difficult. Now, if you even look at JNU cutoff last year, and if you compare with 2022 cutoff, question paper were difficult, then to the cutoff went to 92%.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and last year what happened was the exams were conducted on 2 different dates, so there were normalization. And on one of the dates, the examination question paper were difficult. So anything can happen. This year also we are looking at this NEET examination, UGC NET examination getting cancelled. So for next year, I think we should prepare for all the levels or difficulty level also. And so we cannot rely on one pattern of the examination, right?
Yeah, anything can be expected. After the NEET issue, even I was a bit worried again with the, will there be some problem?
Cancellation of CUET PG.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything is possible, because
anything is possible.
So we need to be prepared accordingly, right?
Yeah, you should. If you're eyeing for JNU, you should be on the high end. You should be sure for at least 73 questions.
So what suggestions would you like to make for the students who are going to prepare next year?
So for all the aspirants preparing for 2025, I would say that to always keep in mind that it is an objective examination of a very subjective discipline. So when you make notes, again, if I have to give you a small example, if you're taking Emile Durkheim or Karl Marx for classical thinkers, just focus on their concepts, their books, and the years of their important publications. Do not go on reading over a page on a particular concept. It's not going to help you. Secondly, solve the net question papers. It is very helpful. Focus on the options as well. And 3 important aspects from the syllabus, I would say. Thinkers are very important. Their concepts are very important, and just a definition on what it is so that you can recollect. Important years on publications, quite often not asked for CUET, but asked in the net exam. And another thing that I would say is that when it comes to social processes and social institutions, be very thorough on that. Research methodologies are very important. Exam Treasury had provided certain mock tests which were completely specific for the research methodology and the statistics part. For me, that was a difficult area because, again, I'm not from the sociology background, and optional does not ask you to delve much into, the research part. So that is very important. And, things like family and kinship, the terminologies, is very important because it for sure every year one or 2 questions, if you're lucky enough, would come from that aspect. 2-3 questions can come from research methodology. So strategize your preparation like that, and you're good to go. All the best for all of you, and I hope you all get in.
So I assume that everyone who is going to prepare for next year, they are going to listen to you. So thank you for joining and sharing your insight and giving time to us. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.